If you want to build a house, you need to know how bricks and mortar work together. And if you want to build a stronger body, you need to know the biology of body movement. In our previous videos, we have talked about the theory of stress and adaptation and why raw strength is the key or the foundation of athletic performance. Today, we are looking under the hood. We are trying to understand the physiology of adaptation. We are going to understand the microscopic analysis of muscle contraction, how your body fuels lifting weights, the difference between power lifter muscles and bodybuilding muscles, and why cardio might be actually killing your gains. Let's dive deep into it. Before we try to understand how we get stronger, we need to know how we build muscle, which attaches itself to the skeletons at a minimum of 2 points using connective tissue called as tendons. If we just try to zoom in, muscle is actually made up of thousands of units called as muscle fibers, and these are organized very well. These fibers contain smaller structure called myofibrils, which are repeatedly organized into smaller contractive units called as sarcomeres. Within these sarcomeres, there are major contractile proteins, actins, and myosin. When you lift weight, these proteins interact chemically, causing the myosin to pull its ends towards the center. This microscopic pulling is what causes muscle to contract and moves your skeletal levers. But not all muscle fibers are created for equal functionality. They exist on a spectrum on how they are produced and what type of energy they use. Let's learn more about the type 1 fibers. Type 1 fibers are your slow twitch fibers. They are small and don't have much potential to grow into a larger muscle group. These fibers produce very little force. However, these muscle fibers are extremely endurance resistant. They rely on oxygen to burn fatty acids for fuel. You can use these type 1 fibers for sitting, standing, walking, etc. On the other end of the spectrum, you have type 2B muscle fibers. These are fast twitching and fast glycolytic muscle fibers. They are larger, they have huge strength or growing potential, and they can generate huge force and power in a short amount of time. But these have very less endurance abilities. They fatigue very quickly. Strength training mostly focuses on type 2B type of muscle fibers, where they have the ability to grow faster, grow larger, and produce more strength and power. So how are we fueling these different types of muscle fibers? Every movement you make, every deadlift you perform, every squat that you perform, and every marathon you run is powered by a small molecule called as the ATP, adenosine triphosphate. ATP, as we've already studied famously in our biology textbooks, it is the powerhouse of the cell or the energy currency of our cell. Your body produces and reuses ATP in 3 different ways. The first one is through the ATP-CP cycle. Stored ATP is used as the energy source during muscle contraction, but your muscles store these ATP molecules for a very short amount of time when the intensity of work is too large. For short explosive sprints for 10 to 12 seconds or for 1 rep max, your body tries to recycle ATP using creatine phosphatase, and in this system of ATP-CP, we don't need oxygen. The second system of fueling is through glycolysis. If your intense exercise lasts for more than 12 seconds, like a wide set of squats or bodybuilding circuit, your body has to break down glycogen to produce ATP and supply to the muscle fibers continuously. The process of breaking down glycogen into its smaller units where it produces ATP is called as glycolysis. And glycolysis produces lactate and pyruvate as its byproduct. And this fueling lasts for a couple of minutes. Since glycolysis also doesn't use oxygen, this is called as the anaerobic method of production of ATP molecules. And the final third type of energy production is through oxidation. This is when your body does a particular movement or an exercise for more than 2 minutes. This can be anything to do with a low or a medium intensity workout. If you are cycling or you are jogging or you are walking on a treadmill in an incline, you are most likely going to use energy through oxidative phosphorylation or oxidation. This is an aerobic process because we are using oxygen, and this aerobic process uses fatty acids to break down and produce ATP molecules, and the production of ATP molecules is very slow. This brings us to the most confused part in fitness: repetition continuum. You might have seen videos, you might have seen Instagram reels saying that a 3 rep max will have the same effect as that of a 20 rep max. This completely ignores the science of metabolic specificity. Now we know that a 3 rep max uses ATP-CP system while a 20 rep max uses glycolysis as its energy requirement. Now what we need to know is these are two different biological events, and this will definitely shape the way the muscle builds differently. If we have not discussed earlier, we know that there are two different types of muscle growth or hypertrophy. The first one being myofibrillar hypertrophy and the second one being sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Myofibrillar hypertrophy is a result of low repetition and high intensity training. This type of training adds more actin and myosin into the cell, and it produces high dense muscle and generates massive amount of force, which is why we can say that a powerlifter is extremely strong. Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy happens when we do low intensity workout for a longer period of time. This, instead of increasing actin and myosin in cell, increases cytoplasmic volume and metabolic substrate in the cell. Therefore, we get a feeling that a muscle has been inflated because of these cytoplasmic volumes. But innately, these muscle fibers do not contribute to the increase in actin and myosin in the cell, and therefore we don't increase our strength as much. This theory justifies the scenario where you might have seen a smaller athlete being stronger than a bigger bodybuilder. But getting stronger isn't just about lifting more weight, it's also something more neural. You have to train your nervous system. Muscle fibers don't fire on their own. You need to activate the CNS or the central nervous system. A motor neuron and all its connection together is called as a motor unit. By the way, neuron is the simplest unit or the simplest cell in the nervous system. The number of fibers that are controlled by a single neuron depends upon the functionality of the muscle cell. If we have muscle which is working on finer movement like our eyeballs, maybe one neuron may only control 10 muscle fibers. But in larger muscle groups designed for power, one neuron may control 1000 or 10,000 muscle fibers. And here is the key to strength training. Motor units are usually recruited on how you apply stress. If you're just walking around, your brain recruits only low threshold, low twitch type of muscle fibers and motor units. As the weights get heavier, your brain recruits a much faster twitching and high threshold muscle fiber to generate enough force. If you want the majority of motor units to be recruited by your brain, you basically have to do extremely heavy lifting. You cannot recruit higher threshold or high twitching fibers by doing high frequency workout. You need to do it with high strength workout or lifting heavier weight. The contribution of higher reps in recruitment of motor units is highly negligible when compared to doing lower reps with higher weights. Heavy high velocity training teaches your CNS and the motor unit to get recruited quickly and fire them faster. This is why beginners feel incredibly stronger in the initial days of them lifting, even before they add significant amount of muscle mass into their body. Now that we know the structure of muscle, how they utilize energy and how they are wired with the CNS, let's try to understand how they communicate with each other, and this is through hormones. An effective program design always uses hormones as an internal response to stress. Firstly, we have testosterone. It promotes protein synthesis, tissue growth, bone growth, and neuromuscular efficiency. Then we have cortisol. Now there is a bad reputation of cortisol in the fitness industry because cortisol is also called as a stress hormone. But the thing is, your body needs cortisol. When your body is subjected to heavy lifting and there is a muscle fiber or a muscle cell which is far beyond getting repaired, your cortisol is the one which helps it remove through excretory systems. While testosterone helps your body anabolically to grow, there is also something like a cortisol which helps your body catabolically control the wreckages caused by the anabolic steroids like testosterone. Cortisol only becomes a problem if it's elevated in higher levels when compared to the ratio between testosterone and hormones like testosterone. And cortisol generally increases when you don't rest properly. I call back to the previous video: eat good nutrition, drink more water or hydrate yourself, take rest and exercise, and you should be good to go. The starting 3 points which I told mostly help your cortisol level go lower. Finally, heavy lifting will also ignite your epinephrine and norepinephrine, the flight or fight hormone. This is also commonly called as adrenaline and noradrenaline. During an intense workout session, the epinephrine may go over the roof several times in a particular set. This immediately pumps a lot of muscle to the tissues which are involved in the contraction and relaxation during the muscle lifting. And all this is done just to do one thing, which is produce more ATP while you're lifting heavy weight. And with ATP comes more force and more strength. Here we are with the final biological system that we are talking today about, and this is the controversial one, the cardiovascular system. When you unrack a barbell and when you lift it and when you keep it after the exercise is done, at that particular point of time, the blood pressure is temporarily spiking, and this in longer runs may not be good for your health. The value may be 4 times higher than what it should be in normal time. To compensate this push into the blood vessels, your heart works extremely hard. You might have noticed that when you lift heavy, and when you keep it and then you try to breathe, you breathe heavy and the heart is trying to pump as fast as possible. Over time, this specific stress causes an adaptation. This particular specific stress leads to increase in the thickness of the left ventricle. Heavy lifting is basically increasing the muscle size of your heart as well and making your heart stronger. Many trainers will say that doing cardiovascular activities will make you fit, strong, but the chapter 4 of the book which I am reading now and narrating you the story with says otherwise. Cardiovascular fitness is not exactly same as aerobic workout or aerobic endurance. Doing a heavy 20 rep squat will actually depress the amount of oxygen in the blood, and this dip in the saturation of oxygen levels is far more greater than you doing a jog. If you're a explosive athlete, your abilities may be hindered if you do long distance running. Many elite athletes have actually done a long distance and endurance training while they were active and they have been successful, but it might not be because of the endurance training that they were having these benefits. Finally, I would like to conclude that your body is a system that is built for ultimate survival mechanism. It will adapt especially and specifically to the stress you put it in. If you want to build dense muscle fibers, it's better for you to train with heavier lifts where you are able to generate high power, high force, wire your nervous systems as you want, and optimize the hormonal levels. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, like, share, and subscribe. Do let me know how you felt this video was in the comment section below. I'll see you in the next one.